So firstly, Edunova presents maybe just a bit of background in terms of Edunova as an organization and who it is. So Edunova is a non-profit organization started in 2005, having about 20 years of experience now working within the education sector, with our main mandate being the effective use of ICT within schools, mainly focusing on the more marginalized communities. And there we see to leverage ICT and those innovations to bridge learning gaps and also to ensure that ICT is well integrated into teaching and learning, so that we find that both educators and learners are well equipped to flourish in this ever-changing and evolving world. So today I'm very honored and proud to welcome you, and also want to extend a wholehearted thank you to Zoe and the Learning Trust team for allowing us to come present our AI Masterclass, presented by yours in all humbleness, Lionel Blooms, which is me. Some of you that might be toggling through uh, your screens to see my face. Don't worry, I've got a couple of images. I always feel that it's quite important just to give a little background, especially when presenting to quite an esteemed group of individuals, professionals as yourself, just to give a little bit of background of who I am. So, as you can see, Lionel Blooms is a servant of education and development. I'm not too hung up in terms of roles and titles. So, yeah, look, some of my work colleagues always tend to tell me, look, you're quite modest, but I think in terms of when one's working in the education sector, one must have a deep need to want to help individuals. And I think that statement speaks true. So within Edunova, I've got just over 5 years of experience in skilling and developing. So this is from learners to youth, and also educators and professionals as well. And in terms of my professional background, so I'm internationally certified in information technology, so ranging from Microsoft platforms to CompTIA and similar aspects to that in networking. And you might ask yourself, sure, this is quite a quite a technical background, but if I think in terms of just IT, the main focus is a lot in terms of communication and being able to relay information from one point to another. And when I'm thinking in terms of teaching and learning, that's one of the key aspects is relating and also sharing information and knowledge. So I think that's quite a good fit. But that's a bit about me. As we proceed throughout the slide deck and we start to engage with one another, I'll be able to also get some feedback from you wonderful people as well. So now that we've got a little background in terms of who I am, I think it's very important for us just to understand what we're coming to learn here today. And when we look at the learning outcomes, it's as follows: is to understand AI basics and also its history. One thing that's important, especially when one wants to truly comprehend a topic, I think it's important to know where it started, how it progressed, and where it is now, and also explore the practical applications within education. Because I think that's also something that's important. It's always that correlation. What does AI mean to me as an educator of an after school practitioner or as a leader within my organization? And how can I leverage that use to enhance my productivity or the programs or the processes that I've set in place? And I think one thing that we're really going to hone on and drill upon is the prompt engineering. And luckily, here we don't need to go to university for 7 or 8 years and get a master's in engineering and be quite technical, but we'll see how that comes into play, especially with generative AI and the large language models. And then also we're going to discuss a bit the topic called responsible AI. It might seem that AI is, it's very loose. Everybody's just doing whatever they want to, but there are processes set in place of policies and rules in terms of AI development. So I hope that gives us a nice overarching view of what we will cover here today. But let's first have some interactions and engagements. For those of us that are working from our laptops, I think it will be a bit easier for you as well. But also, if we do find ourselves having an additional device. I would like us just to interact quite nicely with one another so that it's not just a one-way stream. So I'll just pop a link in our chat, in the chat box. You'll be able to see it, or you can just navigate even on your own web browser, and you can head to www.mentimeter.com. And we have quite a nice little icebreaker, and it's just going to ask us, where have we seen AI today? So we can just get a thumbs up if we're all good with that. And I'm just going to shift my screen quickly. There we go. And you should be able to see it. The code that it's going to ask you is shown on the screen. It's 19282367. So where do you see AI in your daily life? I'm also just going to pop in the code in the chat box as well. Okay, perfect. Mm. Wonderful. I'm starting to see some of our responses coming in. Social media algorithms, phone, ChatGPT, creating templates, banking. Banking. Very interesting. Formal writing. Yeah, most definitely, especially with the large language models that we have access today. Our emails. I, I guess what we have been seeing is it's quite a increased professional tone, especially when it comes to emails nowadays, which I think it's quite good. No, that's perfect. We've seen WhatsApp also. Okay, nice. Google Apps, Chrome, definitely. Copilot. Okay, I see some generative models coming through here. That's good. Our computers, definitely. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. It seems like the group here is quite clued up when it comes to artificial intelligence in their daily lives, and that's wonderful. I'm going to just jump back to our presentation, but please, for those who haven't yet popped the answers in, please do feel free. You'll still be able to see the Mentimeter even so while I'm jumping back into our presentation. So thank you so much for that. So now just for some open dialogue between ourselves, what is AI in your own words? So if we could possibly get one very brave candidate out of this pool of 37 participants to maybe just give us their definition of artificial intelligence. And please note that there's no wrong answers, similar to in class. Do you have any takers? See a couple of names on my screen: Brandon, Colleen, Tapelo, Lunga, Karen, Machidiso. Yeah, Brandon, thank you. Take the floor.
Oh, okay. So this is the one brave robot on the other side. His name is Brandon. So my can I say my take on AI is exactly what the abbreviation says. Artificial intelligence, something artificial in the background that is intelligent. But AI is one thing, but AI needs intervention. And that is my take on AI.
Mm, perfect. Thank you so much, and for that. And most definitely, AI. I think in some terms, in its name, within the acronym AI, when you break it up, artificial intelligence, you can obviously derive and take out a lot of its meaning from that. But let's also see what the industry experts says about AI. But before we get into that, let's just look at a little bit about the misconceptions, and especially, Braden, I think it's so important, especially with your comment in terms of the robot. I think there's a lot of misconception around what artificial intelligence actually is. And one of them is robots, or looking at the robots as the only or the sole being of artificial intelligence. And sometimes we also get confused with what human intelligence is and what artificial intelligence is, and the differentiating factors between that two. And then also automation. So AI is not just automation. So it does incorporate a lot of these factors in, but there's a broader scope when we think of artificial intelligence. And this is how the industry experts explain AI for us to be able to comprehend it. So artificial intelligence is the ability of machines or applications to mimic human intelligence. And emphasis there on the word mimic. Uh, so when we think of mimic, uh, it's not always, it's not the real thing. I'm copying, I'm trying to duplicate. When I think about mimic and duplication, I'm always thinking about this very famous piece, the Mona Lisa. I mean, it's very easy for you to get an image of the Mona Lisa off the internet, probably printed and put a nice photo frame on it and put it back into and paste it on your wall, perhaps, but it's not the real thing. So artificial intelligence, it's not like human intelligence. There's a lot of processing that goes into play there, but that's the definition I want you to stick with when somebody's coming up to you and asks you, so what is artificial intelligence? So it's just the ability of machines to mimic human intelligence. And let's look at a couple of examples of artificial intelligence in today's world. So, as you can see, we've got these generative chatbot models here, like Gemini, and we've also got a music generating application. So, when you're prompting the application, it's going to give you some nice lyrics or songs. I know that not all of us um, are not lyrically blessed, but in able to rhyme words. So, but nowadays with the technology at our disposal, I mean, anybody can become Eminem or Buster Rhymes, I suppose. So now let's jump into the history of AI. Oh, where AI derived from? Where does it come from? Where did we come up with the term even artificial intelligence? So we currently in 2025. So maybe just if anybody can maybe pop us in the chat box there, how many years ago 1950 was. So in 1950 we had this gentleman here. Here's my mouse. There we go. Alan Turing, who posed the question, can machines think? And that sparked quite a nice revolution across the years. And then 6 years from that, John McCarthy coined the actual official term artificial intelligence. And from that point, we start to see certain developments coming into place in the realm of computer science, data science. So artificial intelligence is not just made out of one discipline or one field, but it's a collective of different type of fields and disciplines, whether it be computer scientists, data scientists, even psychologists, and a whole lot of technical people coming together, trying to build and trying to replicate the human's ability to think and to learn. And as we can see, 1966, a couple of years after the term was coined, we saw our first AI program. Jumping into the 1990s, where we saw the development of Deep Blue, and Deep Blue was created by IBM and the first computer program that was actually able to beat a grandmaster in chess at his own game. Jumping over into the 2000s, now we started coming into the data driven type of models where we really saw the advancement significantly in the realm of AI and ICT, and then with 2010 giving us deep learning and the breakthroughs there, where we started seeing picture recognition, speech recognition, and the ability to create something out of nothing. And by nothing, I mean a prompt or an instruction. So quite an interesting thing. And one thing I just want to point out is here, as you see, the line still continues. So there's still continuous progression taking place. So now if perfect. I can see we've got some good mathematicians. Yeah, that's good at mathematics. 75 years ago. So what's that? That's about 3/4 of a century ago, which is quite a long time. So artificial intelligence hasn't just been um in the forefront of in the development in the last couple of years, but it's actually been coming on quite a significant time. So if we possibly have another brave ambassador here to maybe just answer us this question, or also just hear their thoughts in terms of why you think AI grew so fast after the 2000s, because in actual fact, though AI was under development um, for 75 years, I think it's only in the last, if I'm really looking at it in terms of the last 5 to 10 years, really, that we actually started to see great developments like smartphones coming out with the smart assistants, being able to engage with computers, and even so how you engaging with even so robots. If I can say it, I'm just thinking of the misconception there, but also them being able to, for a certain degree, understand what we say and give feedback. So I'm just gonna slide quickly back to the timeline screen, and then just allow our brave ambassador to just give us a thought in terms of why I think the innovations have been so great since the 2000s, or in the last couple of years. So we still just building off what your current type of knowledge or understanding is here. I don't want to do a name drop again. Okay, going once, going twice. Okay, nobody for the take. Okay, fine, not a problem. The reason why we have seen greater developments in the last couple of years, it's due to everybody becoming so interconnected. And they became interconnected via the internet, the World Wide Web. Everybody started getting some phones that can connect to the internet. A couple of years ago, it was only like big businesses or hospitals or universities that had access to computers, which back in the day we called mainframe computers. And then we started seeing the development of personalized computers, of personal computers. And because of the usage increase, we saw mountains and mountains of data being generated and being able to be mined. And through that, we were able to process, analyze, and then also become more informed and to do more vigorous training and development to these models and to these systems. And because of that, there was a wealth of information to work with. And through that, we saw these greater developments taking place. And even if we look at it now, just take, for instance, your smartphone. You've got the S22 Ultra of the iPhone 16 today, and tomorrow it's outdated because they've got a new model. So that's how rapidly industries and models are being advanced, just because of the wealth of information at our disposal.